Alright guys, oops, sorry. Alright guys, we're back for another video here. Where we were playing some 8-game mix today, 50 cent $1. 1 second, I'm going to adjust my mic. And we got the 8-game mix, so this is very... You see this format a lot in tournaments. So we have deuce, no hold'em. This is capped in this game, so most you can lose, I believe, is $10. Stud, limit Omaha 8 or better, Raz, PLO capped, limit hold'em, and stud 8 or better. Ooh, queen 7 here. I believe this is a raise. Most queen highs, most king highs. Kind of not the best flop in the world, but I'm gonna bet with some backdoors and a queen of hearts. Calls flop. I'm gonna check turn. River or turn he checks and then a river a queen, so I'm gonna bet the river. I don't think we just get to barrel off everything, but all right. So let's see here. Housekeeping stuff. If you guys like what you're seeing, subscribe. If you would like to open a Phenom account, there is a link down below in the description. Use that. It'll help me out. It'll keep the channel going, and it'll keep me motivated to make these videos. Yeah, I think I'm double digits now in videos. I'm just super excited to keep making them. So this is really cool. Giving you guys a little explanation. Again, let's see here. So again, to recap, 8-game, hold'em, stud 8, deuce to 7, no limit capped. So they cap it at $10, most lost. Stud, limit Omaha 8, Raz, and PLO capped. King 7 offsuit. We're going to fold. Limit hold'em. Let me think. Limit hold'em. Well, nowadays, you can, if you really want to get into limit hold'em is a purely solved game. And there's a ton of resources online. I believe the one that I've seen her the most is Pio. I'm trying to think if I can even. I don't even think I want to enter anything like that into the browser because Phenom. I'm not quite sure how Phenom like tracks your play or not, but I would not be using any sort of like solvers. They're trying to basically make it a person-on-person game. They don't want any HUDs. They don't want any solvers, and they'll track your play to make sure like you're not doing it. We got a limp here in hold'em, and we decide to raise the ace-5. Get a pretty bad flop for our hand. We do have backdoor hearts, backdoor straight draw. We're gonna peel 1 here. This is pretty light, but with the backdoor hearts, we're gonna do it. We're gonna check turn and check fold. Yeah, 8s definitely should bet that river. Limp the button with king queen. Limit hold'em for the most part is definitely one of the. It's in my mind one of those games where there shouldn't be any open limping pre-flop. You should basically be playing a razor fold strategy. So any hand that you're going to play coming in first in should definitely be a raise. 5-9 suited on the button. We're going to open. Get 3-bet. We call. Get a really bad flop, and we're just going to fold. If we had backdoor hearts, or if we had a flush draw, we had a straight draw. Continue, but it's about as raggedy as a flop we're going to get. Now we're in stud 8 or better. So we have basically we're playing half stud high, half 8 or better, but you have to qualify for the low. So you need 5 cards unpaired, 8 or better. The best low is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That is also a straight. Best card you can have in your hand is pretty much an ace because it's the highest high and the lowest low. We're going to open here with 3 card 6, even though there's a king and 9 behind us and a 4 to bring in. This is a good, I would say, semi-steal opportunity, plus we still have plenty of equity for your low cards. Might just be timing out. References for stud, I would say, I think I've mentioned before, but Mastering Mixed Games has a section. I believe Super Systems 2 has a section. I think Super System 2 also has a limit hold'em section for those who are just kind of like learning the ins and outs of it. But you can Google online for like limit hold'em. You can definitely see like you can Google online to see what type of opening hands from different positions you should be opening from. I don't think it's too much of a secret anymore. I think all that information's out there. No, no stealing here. It's a pretty raggedy hand. Again, in most stud games, I almost always recommend if you're the bring-in to always bring it in for the minimum, especially in stud 8 or better, because you can actually have a very strong hand in stud 8 or better, where in Raz, if you bring it in with a king and every other card's a low card, your hand's pretty much unplayable. Same with stud high, but not as much. You can still have some strong hands in stud high, but for the most part, if you bring it in with a low card and the rest are cards that would say are above you or like have higher cards than your door card, it's usually hard to find a hand, I would say, to play. Ace 3-7 here. We're gonna play this hand for sure. I'm gonna go ahead and 2-bet against the queen opening. The 2 calls, catch a brick. The 2s catches a 5, which is a really good card for him. And we brick again, and then the 2-5 bricks as well, which is interesting. I was gonna say we kind of have an interesting spot if the queen bet. Shouldn't have too many jacks in his range here. I still don't see any point in betting. We do have a 7 low draw though. We do make the 7 low, so if given the opportunity, we will bet the 7 low. Probably bet 2 pair in this situation. I don't think I'm just betting aces. He has 5s and deuces, so kings and 5s and deuces, so we chop. Kind of interesting. CT like ran out a pretty good board there and didn't really have anything. King 3-6 could go with a steal here. I'm just gonna let it go. I think in my other videos I was a little too liberal in my steals, and I went to bed one night thinking about it, and I'm gonna correct it a little bit. I think if I had something like an ace in my hand and a face card, I think I would go for a steal there. You can somewhat make the case for stealing this hand in this situation. You can play a lot of limps in stud 8 or better too. It's totally fine. Like you can, instead of just completing it. So if someone brings it in and you have a lot of low cards behind you, it's okay to call. It's okay to call the 20 cents versus raising it to 50 cents. There's nothing wrong with that. And queens are going to scoop that one. CT survives. Where's he from? US? For some reason I thought it might be a European name. Queen 9-4 here pretty much rags. Usually in the situation when the 9 limps, he's, let's say you got like something like a 3 flush or split pairs, but when you're looking into a 5, a 4, a 7, and 4, you're looking into 4 low cards. I think some players get a little bit, let's say, concerned about playing that hand just because sometimes a lot of action ensues behind him. So he might have to put a lot of money up, and he might have to call a lot of jammed streets on a later street. Catches the 9 here, which is pretty good for his range. So like now I would expect him to have like 2 pair, 3 9s, or like a 4 flush, meaning that like that hand's pretty strong. That should be pretty strong against these boards actually. CT's got like a 8 low with nothing else here. I don't know if he should just be betting here. He does have an 8 low. He had aces up. It's like 8, 9, 10, jack, queen. He has a straight. It looks like he did have a 4 flush. He made a straight on the river. Honestly, Jay's hand is kind of interesting on 6th Street, but he was staring at a 4 flush with an ace on, or sorry, 3 flush with an ace on 5th Street. But usually when he catches that 9, like his hand's basically some sort of flush draw, 3 9s, 2 pair. It's pretty strong. We got stud 8 or better, and we got deuce, hold him capped. probably try to get to the PLO round one more time. Looks like 3 threes is going to win that one. Seems like a pretty small pot for 3 threes. All right, 2, 4, 5, 6. So deuce to 7, the best hand is 7, 5, 4, 3, 2. Definitely want a deuce in your hand if you can find it. That is the lowest card and has the best combination of, and blocking, when you make pairs too, it's also very beneficial. Like we block a 6, we block a deuce, it's very beneficial for us, but now we block our opponent catching some good cards as well. The suits don't matter unless you have a flush or a straight, and you don't want those. Those are bad. Aces are bad in this game. We make 8-5, which is a relatively strong hand, especially against the draw 2. I think we win here probably like over 90% of the time against the draw 2. If he's trying to beat us. 2, 3, 4, 8. Very strong 1-card draw to an 8. Best hand we can make here is 8, 5, 4, 3, 2. But from most positions, any 3-card 7 with a deuce, a 7, and any card in between is mostly playable. And then I would say, against a 3-bet and then a cold caller, most pure 1-card draws, we're just gonna go ahead and 4-bet. Definitely would like a wheel draw here, which we don't have, but this is still strong enough, especially since most of the time the small blind's gonna take 2. Surprised to see CT take 2 there. I would say that's a little. It's a little bit, and it goes 2-1-2, and we have the draw lead. And usually when check 2, and we have the draw lead, we're usually betting before we get to the final street. We're gonna bet again if given the chance. Make a jack here. We're not padding this hand. We're drawing still. If we get 2 folds, it's great. If he takes 2 again, we might be padding, but now we want to break for action. Honestly, just want to break the jack. Because if he bets, not much we can do. When he checks here, 9 is usually the best hand. We're going to go ahead and bet for value. Get a fold, so we won a nice one there. But yeah, going back to the starting hands, I would say 2-card draw with a 7 with a deuce to 7, any card in between. Most 8s that are not straight draws. So that would include something like, like my 2, 3, 4, 8 I just had. 2, 3, 4 against a limp and a call. We're gonna raise. Or something like the 1-card 8 draw I would say is like 3, 5, 6, 8. Most of those are playable. He limps and draws 1. We took 2. He takes 1. We're going to check to him. My guess is that draw is probably a little bit weak. I'm still going to check here with my 6. Aces are bad. And we're going to discard this one. We make a pair of 3s. And I think that he just might overfold given like how he's played his hand. So we're going to bet this one. This is definitely an overbluff, I would say, because like I can make a straight, I can make 6s, I can make 4s, and I made 3s. I mean, honestly, I might still have had the best hand there, but the way that hand just went down, he didn't raise pre-flop, and he never bet with the draw lead. So my guess is that he's probably learning deuce, which means he might overfold in that situation too. So we're gonna go ahead and bluff, and we win. Looks like this one went 3 bets pre-flop, 2, 1, 1. So in a 2-1-1 spot, there should be some betting from like either player, and especially if check 2, most likely on first draw, the player in position should bet their 1-card draw because there's another player behind him that has 2. There's some exceptions, but I would say that it kind of leads towards that direction. Looks like Databix though is Pat, and he's betting to both players. Don't expect CT to have a 2-card draw here on the last draw. Usually he's just 1 when he calls. And it goes 1-1. I would expect Data to have 8 or better in this situation when he bets river. I don't expect him to have, unless he's somehow got a bluff, but I'm not quite sure. He does have a 9. I think that's a little bit thin in a 1-1 spot 3 ways, but he did get paid off by a jack, so it's okay. If he's planning on calling a raise, I think it's a little bit too thin. Like sometimes you just have the best hand, you check, and then they both check behind you and you win. I definitely want to get in there and play some hands against Data, but 4-7 with 3-card draw is a little too weak in my mind. Plus I don't have really any significant blockers. So I'm just going to fold, just get out of the way. What's next? Nolan Hold'em capped, stud high. Away. Yeah, but this is a great format. Honestly, if if you're looking to kind of like get into some of the mixed game tournaments at the World Series, or even around town during the World Series. 8 game's a very popular one. Horses, and all these games are in horse. You get a lot of experience like playing a lot of the games in tournaments, I would say. You know, some of the super circus mix, or the circus mix, or the fun mix, it makes number 2 against an 8. Big hand right there. Second best hand you can make. 8 game's great because a lot of these games are just in like the tournament formats, where the other ones that we play, where we play like the Dramahas and some of the other games, 8, 5, 6 or 3 cards, not good. Against an under the gun or hijack range, I would say that usually we're not playing 3 cards to an 8. Usually I want 4 cards to an 8 or 3 cards to a 7. If the player's playing really wide, you can definitely play it, but 8, 5, 6 is just too rough. We have a straight draw, and we don't want that. We want basically an 8 draw with we want an 8 draw that's doesn't have a straight draw, so we want like an 8 and a 3 would be okay, and then another card in between. But against, he takes 4. I don't know, he must be playing the wrong game. He should like never be taking 4 there. That's not a thing. He shouldn't be even taking 2 there, or a 3 there, unless he was just planning on bluffing, and then he realized that the player over here was all in. 1, 2. I would expect Data to have a pretty strong hand here, given the way he's played so far. Especially if it goes like bet, re-raise, re-raise. A lot of people try to like shut. Yeah, he's got a wheel. Yeah, but going back to the tournaments, you see a lot of these games in a lot of the mixed game tournaments, and definitely some of the best fields you'll find are like horse fields. No limit hold'em capped. 40 big bets, so you can see the big blind is 25. They strip the blinds, so it's like slightly deceiving, but like the big blind's 25, and you can lose up to 10. So there's about 1.5 dead big blinds in the middle, so it's pretty significant. I would say in the PLO game you see a lot more you see like a lot more limping with the 40 big blind cap and a lot of dead money. In the no limit you still see a lot of raising. You can make your raise sizing is usually pretty small. $0.60 here, basically like 1 point. We're gonna call here with the queen 8. Flop queen. Check. My guess is we do a lot of check calling on this board. Check turn. SPR right around 2. Probably if he bets, we'll probably get it in. Let's see really what else to do in this situation. Given the pot size and the fact that we're only 40 big blinds deep. Could call, but then the like SPR is like nothing, and I'd rather just get it in here. So we fold, he folds. Yeah, there's not a lot of play, but it still makes it fun at 40 big blinds. Queen 3, we mostly do a lot of limping, and this is also with this strategy, like with a lot of dead money in the pot. Small blind, my guess is that I'm sitting at 2-4 circus mix. Come join. Was that just now? Yeah, that was just now. Maybe what we'll do is we'll get through these games, and maybe, well, we'll be playing that one shorthanded, so now we're going to get through all these games first. I think this is a good one to get through. 6-8 suited on 6-8 off on the button. We're going to let go. I believe we're going to let go. Small blind definitely, though, in this type of strategy, definitely want some like limper raises with the ante size, because you're just going to be doing a ton of limping. I don't really have a limp strategy. This is something you tend to see a little bit of, is like small raise all in for 40 bigs. It seems like a lot. Don't think that's correct. I think like 40 bigs gives you enough to play, but it's probably it's probably not unprofitable to jam like a range like ace queen plus there, like ace queen, maybe like ace jack suited plus most pairs. It does get super annoying too when like you've raised like 2 or 3 times and someone decides to jam queen jack off here against that small blind and some dead money. I think we're gonna call. Flop middle pair. That's half, a little less than half. Easy call. Probably would flat call here with like king queen off too. I'm gonna go ahead and no, I'm gonna bet my hand here. I'm gonna bet probably about half myself. 194 looks like okay, a little more than half. Definitely would flat king queen. Most of my kings, I would say, probably flat flop. 310 suited fold. All right, stud. Best reference for stud, but I think probably is don't have much access to it anymore. But I would say like if you can find Joe Tull's stuff from Deuces Cracked against a limp here, I'm getting like a relatively good price with 2 overs to the board. I'm going to go ahead and call, make a 10. This is pretty loose call to be completely transparent, but I'm just going to go ahead and make it. He catches a king, which is a pretty good card for his range, but catch an 8. He catches the 7 of hearts. Go ahead and bet again with the 10s. He could have a flush draw here, it's possible. Don't really think he's got split 9s. It's a really bad card because now he makes a bigger pair than me. He could have kings up. I don't have a straight draw either, so it's kind of tricky the way he's played his hand. And I block all of his straight cards. I block all of his straight cards, meaning like it's very unlikely he just has a straight draw on kings. So I'm gonna unfortunately I think fold here. Okay, we got an ace up. Now, instead high we do a lot of stealing. It's kind of like the nature of the game with the dead money in the pot. If the 10 raises, we're just going to fold our hand. We don't really have a hand, but if everyone folded to us, like stealing with an ace is, I don't want to say standard because in a lot of positions you should be folding, but if players don't know how to defend against an ace, I think stealing pretty lightly is totally fine. 9-7-3, pretty much got rags here. Dead 3, dead 9, so this is a hand we're just going to let go. Sorry, I keep looking, I'm just kind of curious. Limit of height next. And fold that one. Ace 10-9. 2 dead 9s, a 2 dead 10. If the king folds and the 9 folds, I'm probably actually going to end up trying to steal here. Just because I block their pairs. He calls there, I'm just going to fold. Again, I'm just kind of liberal with my steals. But when he limps, I'm just going to let it go. And then kind of interesting, like he didn't raise coming in, so like you would expect him to have a lot of clubs. I think that's usually one of the combos, or like 3 high cards. So it looks like he missed a draw of some kind. If he did have 3 clubs in his hand with the king up and he was the high card on the board, coming in for a raise is I would say by far the superior strategy, because a lot of times you just win the antes. So here we have the 10-8-6. We have 3 to a straight flush. Even though it is gut shot, there's 1 heart dead. It is important to know when you have like 3 to a suit when you start out, like how many of your deck, how many cards are dead. Ace raises in this situation. He could be stealing, but at the same time too, I'm just gonna go ahead and flat call because I tend to flat call with like the majority of the hands that I continue with here, especially against an ace. I think I do a little bit more raising if it's any other card but an ace. So now I catch an ace, which is a little bit interesting because now I block him from having aces. Now I make aces with the no flush draw, so we're just gonna go ahead and bet. He does catch a spade here and makes 3s, so I thought there was a chance there he might have a spade draw, but it looks like he was just stealing. But just because I catch an ace there doesn't mean that I should be betting into him, because like he could still have some pairs, and it doesn't mean like I just make aces. So I have a 3 flush here. There is 1 higher card behind me, this queen of diamonds. There was 1 queen dead over here. The 7 2 bets me. If he's 3 bet me with 7s here, like I should definitely be doing a little bit of 3 betting. I think I'm going to go ahead and do it. Because now kind of his hand is like put in a very awkward position. If he doesn't necessarily know how to play against say stronger range. Catches the queen of spades. Obviously that's a pretty good card for him if he's 3 betting 3 flushes. I'm going to go ahead and semi-bluff this hand, I think, a little bit, just because there is a queen dead. And I think a lot of his hand is split 7s here. And he does fold. So obviously that's a really good outcome for us. I wouldn't necessarily try that against really experienced stud players. But I think some people who, again, are just a little bit inexperienced with stud probably give you the benefit of the doubt. The other thing too is if he does have split 7s in that situation, he's supposed to continue. Like he's supposed to try to make 2 pair. Ace 10 9 5. I think Data's limping a pretty wide range here, so we're gonna go ahead and raise this. This is not necessarily a hand that I want to play out of position, but it's definitely a hand that plays well against the limping range, and I'm just going to go ahead and bet down. I probably could actually consider checking river, but yeah, if he's limping with the king deuce 9 7, I should be raising this hand for sure. This is king deuce 9 7 is a fold on the button. It's just way too loose. It's not connected enough. Your low draw is not great. It's a hand that you might be able to defend in the big blind, but not for a button limp. CT might. I wonder if he's getting action in the other game. I would be playing him in 2-4 right now, but oh, he is kidding. Oh, actually, you know what? Playing blue. Against the limps here, we're gonna call. This hand plays fine. 5 6 7. Flop a gutter against a flush draw and most likely better low draws. We're just gonna go ahead and check call. I'm going to sit down in the 2-4 game on the other side, and maybe when we get through the rotation over here, we'll continue. Against a raise, my hand is, I don't think, good enough to continue. I'm getting a free roll a lot, plus a lot of my outs are called tainted. Just because of their clubs, I still lose half. Yeah, this is a lot of action. We do make the nuts on the turn, but again, like, can't really judge it by that, because almost certainly like someone's going to show up here with clubs. Oh. Ace 5 6 7. That hand had us completely dominated too. I mean, sometimes you run into that. Usually, you're not going to run into a combination that has you dominated, like the 5 6 7 there with a lower card, meaning they have a better low card than you. But you know, sometimes it does happen too. Yeah, King, Jack 8, I should say, like, a lot of these high hands are just not playable. Sometimes if you can get in there relatively cheap, and they give you a decent price, especially if it's double suited, you can definitely make the case for playing it. But this one's not. Like, if I had kings here, I probably would have... I could have played it on the button for, like, a limp, but not for raise. And same thing, 9 King Jack here. It looks like it's a good hand, but in reality, it's not, especially against a raise. Looks like we made the nuts twice on 2 boards. Seems like it's a little slower over here today. Usually we're kind of flying through these hands. Eight, 3, 4, 9, 10, 6, 3, 7. Looks like the bad low wins and the ace is up gets half. Minimum height or better. Ace 2, 3, 5. It's a relatively strong hand. So it's more of a drawing hand than anything. But obviously, if a low gets if three cards on the board hit that are 8 or lower, most likely I'm going to make the nut low with it. Very strong flop here. Flop 2 pair with a 2 pair, nut low draw, flush draw. We're going to go ahead and raise. And we're going to bet. We get called, but we still have nut low with 2 pairs, so we're going to go ahead and do it. And I don't expect to scoop here, but I do expect to get half a lot. And if I do get a fold and get called, like, I don't mind my hand at all. 10, 8, 3. So we get 3/4 actually with the 2 pair. He does have nut low and a better flush draw, but our 2 pair reigns supreme. King 8 deuce is a hand that you can definitely play. It is double suited. I have 2 low cards, so as opposed to like the kings that you saw, like the other high hands you saw earlier, that had no low potential and had like 3 to a suit or 2 suit. This hand plays a lot differently. And if given the opportunity, we'll probably raise or re-raise here, honestly, just because we also have the limp, which means his range is probably pretty wide. On this board, we don't really connect too well with it, so we're going to go ahead and check, even though we do have an overpair. And we still don't really connect with this, so we're going to check it again. And we're just going to actually fold here. No low draw, no diamonds, no straight. Just give it up. All right, res. Best hand in res, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is a wheel. I'm going to steal in this position. We have a low card against the queen bringing. This game I would expect to play a little bit faster just because res is a little more straightforward. We got no defending here with the ace-9. If we had like ace, say like ace, probably like ace-6 or better against the 4 open if he's in a position to steal, then we'd probably defend. But ace-9 is just a little bit too rough. So we're going to fold, even though like the 4 here should have 100% of his range. Again, like realizing I've said this before in the past, but hot and cold equity is one of those things where like I might actually be getting the right price to call, but realizing that equity is something completely different. Ace deuce 3, then the best 3 card hand you can have in this situation. I'm gonna go ahead and open it. Usually if you're the first person in, you're completing it for the maximum. Extremely strong hand there. 4 to a 6, perfect. Usually the king's gonna fold here against 2 cards. It's pretty loose call, I would say. The jack is leading in this situation. That's why he's first to act. I'm still going to bet my queen 6 draw. Very strong. He does raise, which is interesting. I think he's just trying to get it heads up. But in this spot, we're going to go ahead and 3-bet. Our draw, even though he might have the best hand with the jack here, our draw is vastly superior than his. And even in this situation, I still believe that we have the equity edge. And we make a jack 6. We're gonna check call the river because we beat the jack 8, just in case he bluffs. But yeah, like that's just kind of an unfortunate run out. We're gonna fold this one here. That was the bring in with the 3? What happened? Can't be the bring in with the 3. That called somehow? I must have like misclicked. Uh, 3, 5, 8 in this spot. We're gonna go ahead and open if given the opportunity. Probably call most opens as well against most opens. Depends kind of like where it goes. If the 7 goes for a steal, we'll 2-bet. Actually, I'm just going to go ahead and raise this against the limpers. Say slightly thin against some limping ranges in Raz, but I have no problem doing it. So 5, 6. We're going to call. Don't see any 6s out there right now, which is also somewhat beneficial for us. 4, 5, 6. This is a tough one. We're drawing at an 8 against a 4, 5, 6. You see, I'm looking for like the dead cards. There's 2 3s and ace. I'm gonna call once and evaluate. And now he's got an 86 draw. And if we have 2 aces, 2 3s. Let's see, 2 aces and 2 3s in this situation. Deuce, 8, 6, 5, 3. I'm gonna go ahead and fold. I don't think I'm getting the right price now to draw at the draw to even if he's paired in this situation to draw it, because if he's got like a deuce in that spot, then I'm in really bad shape. Split tens here, no good. and looks like we're going to play the PLO round. And I give you guys a little bit of a bonus today. Against a limp, we're going to call. And we're going to fold to a raise out of position here. Again, you should be doing a lot of calling, especially from like the small blind given the price. I'm going to go ahead and open this one with a button. Flop top pair, backdoor diamonds. Kind of mediocre hand, I would say. I'm going to go ahead and check this one back. With top pair. Turns a pretty good card for us, honestly. We're going to go ahead and call. And a river evaluate. And happily just check this one back, if given the opportunity. He does have a 4. Reason I don't bet that flop there is I don't really want to get check raised with my hand. My hand is say pretty. It's okay, not great. Obviously with top pair, want to see a turn card, and it's not a hand that I'm super happy building a pot with early on, and I like to check back in that situation with some like some top pair hands. Capped here, king, queen, 9-4. Fold this one. What's it after? Limit hold'em. Yeah, we'll just play out to my next big blind. We'll play the rest of the PLO cap. Again, if you guys are looking for a Phenom account, please click below for the link. And questions or comments, send them my way. Also have my email in there if you guys want to contact me, because I do provide coaching. See a couple more PLO hands, limit hold'em. Pretty strong hand here in the big blind, even though it's a rainbow hand. I believe this is a 3-bet from any position with the ace, king, queen, jack. Go ahead and do it. Flop nothing, so we're going to go ahead, check. Turns not a great card. We're going to go ahead and check that one too. Queen on the river, we're just going to go ahead and check and hopefully win. Have this pretty much the same hand. I think the ace, king, queen, 9 double suited for his hand, I think is just to get in pre-flop. I think you just get in for 40 big bets. King 4, deuce 7. We're gonna limp here again with 1.5. We limp like we might lift like over 90% of our hands. On this board, since he didn't raise pre-flop and we have a lot of limps, we're just gonna go ahead and bet smallish. Folds. Play 3 more limit hold'em hands and we will be done. Yep. Again, if you guys have anything, let me know. And we'll go from there. Trying to make my commentary a little better as we go. Trying to figure out what to say. Queen jack off against a hijack is a fold. Queen jack suited, probably a 3-bet. Last one, queen 7 suited, I believe, is a fold. All right, that should do it. So, on that note, here, we'll play this last hand over here. We got a 5 Badoogie. I'm gonna play this one. Oh, gotta sit out. 1 second. I think he folded. Yeah, he folded. We won. All right, on that note, yeah, any comments or questions? Feel free to get back to me, and I will gladly reach out. And until then, I wish you guys luck at the tables. Bye-bye.